del Summit Liga MX. Soy Antonio Rosique, periodista deportivo desde 1996 con TV Azteca y MBA in Football Industries por University of Liverpool. Hoy, juntos, viajaremos hasta Italia para conocer uno de los últimos casos de éxito del fútbol europeo. Un club que está viviendo una reinvención muy especial y que apunta hacia un futuro brillante. La Asociación Esportiva Roma. Y seremos guiados por el hombre generando esta evolución. Nuestro ponente es licenciado en Pedagogía por la Universidad de Porto y máster en Economía y Recursos Humanos. En el 2012 se incorporó a la unidad polideportiva del Club Benfica de su país y bajo su liderazgo, el club ganó más de 50 títulos nacionales e internacionales en diversas disciplinas. En 2017 se convirtió en uno de los directores de fútbol profesional más jóvenes de Europa. Su gestión revitalizante e innovadora llamaron la atención de la Roma, que el 1 de enero del 2021 lo incorporó como director general del club giallo-rosa. Hoy nos comparte su visión moderna en la élite del fútbol. Este caso de éxito. Con ustedes, para el Summit de la Liga MX 2022, el señor Tiago Pinto. Tiago, gracias por acudir al llamado de la Liga MX. El escenario es tuyo. Tiago, thank you for being part of this Summit Liga MX 2022. The stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate a lot your introduction. It makes me feel a very important person. But like football, you spoke about my success pathway. But football, the success sometimes it is, and the day after disappears. So the most important thing, in my opinion, and I will try to show you through my presentation, is the strategy. I think we have a lot of examples in our world. I mean, the football world, where the strategy sometimes could win even against the money and the power. And I think even the clubs with money, if they don't have strategy, I think couldn't work. So first of all, thank you for inviting me. It is a pleasure for me to be present in this event. I must tell you that even in Europe, I follow a lot your competition in Mexico because there are a lot of players that worked with me in Benfica. That now are working there, like Facundo Ferreira, Nicolas Castillo, even Lisandro Lopez. So I like to follow your league too, and create this kind of events shows how ambitious you are, because sharing experience, sharing knowledge is important to improve the league. And for me, again, is a pleasure. So I prepared a small presentation that I will share with you guys, and then we can speak about. You can do some questions, and we go through. So I think I don't know if it's all okay with the presentation.
Now it's great.
Yeah, I think starting from the beginning, you call to this session Modern Vision in Elite Football. And I would like to start exactly from that. I think it's not only about the new generations of sports director, and it's not only about me, but if we look around, we have important guys like Pablo Longoria or other ones that come from a new generation. But I think the business is changing, So I think with even with the new ownerships and foreign ownerships, the role of a sports director, a general manager, has been changing, because maybe in the past we think that being sports director is just to being connected to the scouting, see football, seeing players, and make the business. But nowadays is a very complex work where we must link all the departments around the team. And our world is so competitive that we must to try to make all things better in each detail, in each department, to make the success or sport success appear, So again, I think I would like to start from this, for me, important point, because I think our job is changing. and the clubs must be prepared for that. But even us, we must to be prepared for that. We need to know how to communicate with the ownerships. We need to know when to be ready to communicate and speak with the lawyers, because nowadays making negotiations in football is chaotic. Because all the players' contract, image contract, commissions contract, a lot of things that we must to be aware. And then again, like I told, we have a lot of departments around the team, and all these departments have an important role in our success. So as a general manager, like I see it, we need to have this holistic vision, and we need to improve all days, all the areas, to try to achieve the success. I think this slide shows a little bit my vision, the way that I see football, and the way that I see my job. Marginal gains, 1,000 things done 1% better can result in a game changer. I mean, sometimes we are living in a so competitive world, so tough world, that small things could make the difference. And I really believe that all details count. So when I arrive here in Roma, I think my first step was try to know the people, try to know the processes, because when someone new arrive, the easiest thing is arrive and try to impose his model of work, his ideas, and this is good. But at the same time, we must respect the people that we have inside. We need to understand the people and the process, and it was more or less what I try to do. And then, of course, try to understand the impact that these people and this process have in the success, and then try to do it better, try to do it different, and try to become all the things more efficient. And again, check results, and have always in our mind the excellence. So it's not because it's my idea, it's my process, is my people that is right. So every time we need to check the results, and this mentality must go on. But again, like I told in the beginning, the small details could make the difference, and could make us win or make us lost. There are a book that I like a lot from Soriano, that is The Ball Don't Enter by Chance, and shows more or less my what I think about the football. So sometimes the ball hits on the bar and go out or go in, not just by luck. We need to work to deserve the luck. So it's more or less what I try to all days create here in Roma. And again, like I told, now a general manager, a sports director, have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of people working for the club. And you can see here in this sports organigram, where you can see a lot of departments, chief football operating officer, team manager, football operations, head of performance, loan players, academy, the connection with the head coach, match analysis, scouting, project manager, facilities, comms. So all these departments are under my leadership, and I think it shows exactly my first comment, my first thought that I share with you. Nowadays, being a sports director, being a general manager is much more complex than just see football, interact with the coach and the scouting and sign players, because all these areas are very important for the club. I mean, for example, the loan players, follow the loan players, try to do a good job with them. Some of them to come back to the club and perform, some of them to get some value in the market and transfer. But if you don't do this work, of course, you will lost the asset. I mean, could be a sports asset or economical asset. I would like to speak with some more importance about the academy, because it's something that we are changing here in Roma. Roma, of course, in all its history, always have important players from the academy, like Totti or De Rossi, the most important players on the club's history. But in the last years, not only Roma, but maybe in general in the football, the Italian football, we didn't see a lot of players coming from the academy. So from the beginning, in the last 15, 16 months, we are trying to build a proper project with our academy, with a huge synergy between the first team and the Primavera and all the youth sector, where the players regularly work with us, training with us, and of course we try to create the same processes in the academy that we have in the first team. We try to identify the most talented players on the Primavera and bringing them close to the first team and to do work with Jose Mourinho. And I think this is the for me the most important work that we need to do in our clubs, because we are building the future, and we are building the sustainability too. So because nowadays it's not possible anymore, mainly after the COVID, that the clubs could have 22, 23 very high paid with a very high level salary. So we need to try to create a sustainable model where the players from the academy will bring identity, because they know very well the club and they grow up in the club, but to look for this economical sustainability. So from all these departments that you see here, and we are trying to transform and modernize all of them. But I would say that the biggest thing that we have been doing in the last 15, 16 months has been with the academy. If you look to our team, you can see players like Zalewski or Felix or Bove, young players with 19, 20 years old. Now they are playing in the first team, but 15 months ago they were in the Primavera team, and shows how good we are working in this area. Just to keep giving some examples about the details, about the 1% things that sometimes could make us change. I just give some examples in this presentation about the fields, about the quality of the grass. For example, when we arrive here, the first team just have one good pitch to training, and at this level it makes so much difference, not only in the quality of the trainings, but even regarding to the injuries. So is a small detail, but becomes a huge detail. Nowadays we have 3 perfect pitches to work on it, and is something that maybe in the past wasn't a big concern for a sports director, but now is completely linked to our performance, and we need to care about these kind of things, the travels, the hotels, the flights, all these kind of things, because when we play, for example, Roma this season will play 55 games. 55 games in 10 months is too much, is a lot of games, a lot of travels. We can't forget that maybe 50-60% of our players during the FIFA break, they still play with the national team. So all these details, the way that we manage the travels, the hotels, the recovers, all these kind of details could help us to avoid injuries, to improve the recovery of the players. And again, this is the kind of things that nowadays, in my perspective, with a modern vision of the football, we need to be aware. One of the other areas that for me is very important for a sports director, a general manager, to be aware is the communication, because maybe we can do the right things, but if we can't communicate the things in the right way, could hurt us. So I will give you again our example when we are talking about all the press around the football. Rome as a city, very intensive, very passionate for the club. If you can't manage well the way that you communicate, could be a explosive mix. So I think we must to be clear. It's impossible to have totally control or fully control about the external environment and about the communication in a global sense, but it's our duty create a alignment inside the club where we can communicate and express well the good things that we do in the club. And I think we have been doing well to keep in mind our project, our ideas, what we want to achieve in the medium and long term, because football is the moment, and sometimes the results, sometimes no, normally the results influence a lot our perception about the work. But it's our duty, it's our job, aligning with the communication, never lost from our mind the project, the ideas. The actual coach of Manchester United, Ragnick, I think he said some years ago that in football the ideas are even more important when we lose, because when we win it seems that everything is okay. But if we really believe in our strategy, in the things that we are doing, that ideas are more important when we lose. So I think communication is a key piece in a general manager work, in a new management approach nowadays, because the way that we communicate with all the stakeholders are very important for the sports success. One of the other areas that I think, at least here in Europe, a lot of clubs starts to think and develop is the player care. I mean, the players are, of course, our biggest asset, and we need to understand all his entourage, the family, the agents, his behavior, his social behavior, all the people around him, because to increase and improve his performance, we must to be aware all things, and we need to protect him and to try to improve him as much as we can. Of course, the family here in the club, we try to do all things to their family feels okay, feels safe, feels part of the project. Of course, the agents are very important person for the players, so we need to consider them, listen them, involve them in all the things about the club. And nowadays, I think is a reality very present here in Europe. I think in Mexico would be exactly the same. But nowadays, players, they hire nutritionists, physical trainers, mental coaches, lawyers, doctors. So they are like small structures inside a big structure. So, and my approach has been not to refuse that, because sometimes when we forbidden something, it means that they will still doing, but try to hide from ourselves. So my approach and my idea has been always trying to create a teamwork. I mean, if the player has all these entourage, is our job, is our duty, try to go to the player, to try to bring that person from the club, and try to have a very good relationship with them, because the player is only one, with one body and with one mind. And if we have different approaches to the same body, to the same mind, maybe we can do math. So my idea has been not to refuse that entourage around the player, and then of course try to make a teamwork to improve his performance. And of course, in this player care, or in this attention that I like to do to the players, I like to give to the players, the medical department is very important, because again, if we play 55 games per season, they play more games in the national teams. The body and the physical condition is very important, and the last years has been even more important with this situation with the COVID. So the way that we do the prevention work, the way that we monitoring the recovery, the careful that we must to have with the nutrition, with the psychological care, all these kind of things are crucial, are key for our success. So In our case, we have one nutritionist allocated to the first team. We have 2 psychologists. We have 6 physiotherapists, 1 nurse, 1 podologist, 2 doctors. So we have a big structure linked to the sometimes with the personal structures from the players, where our main goal is try to build the right pathway to the player to try to perform as better as we can. But again, I think the most important thing is nowadays is from my perspective is not possible to create or build a success sports project without the leader of the process, the sports director or the general manager, not be aware about all these kind of things. Because if I don't understand the player and all the globality, I think I won't be a good sports director, because in our project, more than buy players and put them to play, we are here to develop players. And if some players is regularly injured, is our duty with the technical staff, medical staff, all personal entourage to try to understand why and try to understand how we can change it. So is my personal perspective. I don't like to give up from the players. So the most important thing for me, more than sign players or sell players, is try to develop the players that we believe and that we have in the club. Again, nowadays, for the players to perform, there are a lot of things around. The way that they recover, the rest, because with so many games, is important to recover well and to have rest. Of course, the physical condition and the strength is a huge part of the work on the gym and the work in the club. Nowadays, when we sign some new player, I think every time that we are looking for some player, the track record of injuries, the knowledge about his physical condition is very important, because nowadays we take decisions, or we try to take decisions with a lot of knowledge to try to avoid mistakes in the future. Then, of course, we do a lot of work regarding to the injury prevention, like I told before, nutrition, all these kind of things. But in this moment, and it's not only about Roma, there are a lot of clubs where we try to find where we try to go deeper regarding to the psychological aspect. I mean, when we sign a player, a report from scouting is very important. A report from match analysis is very important. The information, clinic information or physical condition information is very important. But I think if we know well the psychological aspects from the player, how he reacts in big games or in lower games, how he behaves with the family, with the friends, how is his social behavior. These kind of things help us to try to understand if the player will fit to our manager, if he will fit to our city, our club. And I think in this moment, every sports director in the world gives more attention to these details that maybe we gave on the past. Like I told before, for me, the academy is a very, very key piece in our project, because we create the roots from the academy. The players that play here from us, Roma, from 10, 11, 12 years old, they know better the city, they know better the expectations, they know better how the people leave the club. And every time that one player from the academy arrives to the first team, the city perceived it like one of us, and I think they are like one player that can bring to the team the way and the feeling that the people have with the club. So from my beginning here in the club, we try to approximate, we try to break the barriers between the youth sector and the first team. We did small things like Primavera team and first team train at the same hour, but more than that, we try to find who are the players with the most talented in the club. We try to involve them in the same level of work than the first team. We create a project that we call it youth development program, where a nutritionist, a doctor, a physiotherapist, a psychologist, all the people who was involved, and this group of 6 or 7 players during 4 or 5 months, they were being prepared to be ready to do the preseason with the first team. And I can tell you that in this group, players like Bauer, like Bove, like Zalewski, like Darboa, they were present. They did this job during 3 or 4 or 5 months between January and May. Then they did the preseason with the first team, and hopefully now we can see the team playing, and we can see Zalewski on the first 11. Bove already did some games. Felix, that came later, is playing too. So this is the way that I believe that the sports project must be built. Of course, I think it's impossible some club win the Serie A just with the players from the academy, but a strong presence from the academy in the first team is important. Again, not only because they have quality and they can bring their ambition to the first team, but even because the identity that they bring, they know very well the club, they know the values of the club, and this is very important. Again, we can't forget that nowadays, I think 98% of the clubs needs to be sustainable and regarding to the economicals. And I strongly believe that the bet on the academy help us to create that balance. Then we are living the new age, and of course nowadays the technology is very important. So we try inside the club with the IT department, we try to develop as much as we can all the tools that we have regarding to the match analysis, the performance, the scouting. Is very important that we can do the things quickly, that we can build huge databases with information in the club, and not only to optimize the performance of the departments, but to, and I think this is the reality of a lot of clubs in the world nowadays, I think all the ownerships are very demanding. So it's important for them to have access to a lot of information in real time. So it's not only important to do the things quickly and do the things well, but it's important to make the knowledge and make the information available for the people that take decisions and control the club. So here in the club, we are trying to develop as much as we can all the technology, all the tools that we have to help the technical staff, to help the departments to do the things better, but at the same time to create a huge data lake of information that could help us to take better decisions. Then, and I think is maybe in this forum is maybe the most important thing, that is the scouting, no? Because in my opinion, of course, the key piece of sports project is the coach, because at the end it will be the coach that will join all these areas and will put the players to play and get value from them. But like I told before, academy and scouting are very structural pieces for all the sports project, and for us is very important too. So in our strategy, find the right players as soon as possible, saying no to all the profiles that not fit our model and project, being able to discover the best potential profiles and predict their evolution and development in our roster is crucial for our success. I mean, I have been working with my scouting not only to find the right profiles, but to make us available to say no to a lot of suggestions that we have, because I think all the sports director in the world have the phone full of profiles, full of suggestions of the players, and a good scouting process could help us not only to find talent, but to say no a lot of suggestions that we have. But I think the most important for me regarding to the scouting is the teamwork. I don't believe in scoutings or scouts working by themselves. I think it's important to create a team of scouts that share between them the opinions, the ideas, the reports. The discussion is very important because there is a huge pathway from the talent that we identify and the performance in our club. So the communication between us is very important because talented players is easy to find, but then we need to find talented players that could fit to the way that we play, could fit the right mentality that we want to bring to the club, could fit to our project, could fit to our manager. And as I always say, I think me as a sports director, me as a general manager, I need to create the peaceful environment regarding to the scouting. I mean, I think we will be all most successful if we sign players that we sign players with the agreement for the scouting, from the sports strategy, and from the coach. Because if these three areas will agree in the profile, at the end, it will be much easier to have success. I don't believe in a scouting that works against the coach ideas, or a coach that works against the sports strategy. And we know that we have a lot of situations in a lot of clubs where these kind of clashes happen. So what I have trying to do here in Roma is trying to create this peaceful environment between all these areas. The sports strategy that was defined from the ownership to all the club, from our coach and the way that he sees football, the way that he wants to play, the way that he sees the player's profile, and then with our scouting, all the work that they do around the world to try to find the right profiles for our project. So I think this is the most important. I think our in all clubs, our big challenge is try to reduce the errors as much as we can. Because when we sign some player, we spend money, we create expectations, and when they can't perform, is a global defeat for all of us. And of course, we need to find the right profiles with the potential, but someone here in this club, someone that we can develop them. We know that we are not the club available to buy players in the peak of their careers, because this is not our project. But we like to sign players with quality and potential enough to develop them inside the club with our vision and with our strategy. And of course, sometimes to make the other players grow up, we need experienced players. Like we signed Rui Patrice with 33 years old because we need a strong goalkeeper with experience that could bring some stability to our defensive line. and he's not a player that we will develop a lot, or that we will sell in the future, but he's a player that help us to develop young players like Ibanez, or even Matias Vinha, or Kumbula. We need, all years we want to improve our squad. We know our roster. We know what are the non-negotiable skills that our coach defined for each position. So is our job every transfer windows try to become our squad even better. No, like I said before, for me the teamwork is very important inside of the scouting team, between them scouts, but between them and me, me and the coach. This kind of discussion is very important to try to avoid misunderstandings and mistakes on the recruitment. Because for me, when we sign a player, it's not the sports director sign a player or the coach sign a player, is the club sign a player, and this peaceful environment that I spoke before is very important. The last but not the least, for me, even in the scouting, our youth factor is very important. I mean, for me, it's very important that all my scouts knows perfectly my youth sector, because if they know well the talents that we have in the house, they can do a good work out of our house, because I can't accept suggestions from my scout with 17 or 18 years old players that I consider that we have better in our academy. So our priority, even in the scouting, is know very well what we have in the house, and then trying to look for a way talent that could be better than we have. So like I told before, nowadays we have these multiple areas to touch, to develop, and being a general manager is much more that see players and make the negotiations. The communication with all departments that I told you before is very important, and even inside the scouting department, we create some sub areas to try to match all the areas that I spoke before. So we have one guy specialized for South American network. We have other guy focus on the connection with academy. We have other guy focus on the low-end players, and all these guys, then they have the obligation to share with all the scouting department the information that they have, because it's the only way that I believe that we can do a good job as a team for the club. Just to finish, I think this is the maybe the biggest goals for us in this project until the 2024. Of course, we want to be present in the Champions League. We won't be in the next season, but this is our biggest goal. Build a club, build a structure, build a squad able to play Champions League every year. Of course, fight for titles is important because we want to build a winner mentality. Let's see if we can do it this season. We already got the qualification for the Conference League final, but there are other titles like Coppa Italia or Supercoppa that we need as a club to fight for them, because to create this kind of mentality is just possible if you win something, and then slowly. We really believe that in 2-3 years we will fight for the Scudetto. We will be there on the top, like the other teams in Italy, because I think a club like Roma, in a so important city like Roma, with unbelievable, incredible supporters that we have. We must to be there slowly, step by step, doing the right things in the right moments. But I strongly believe with a strategy we will get there. Like I told just in the beginning of my intervention, I really believe that in sports, in football, the strategy is more important than the money. Of course, without money, you can't execute your strategy. But if you are convict, if you believe in the strategy and all the structure, all the organization is aligned with the strategy, I strongly believe that we can do the right things. If we look clubs like all the clubs from Red Bull, if we look the things that Manchester City Group did, of course, they have money, but they have strategy. The strategy is clear. The way that they recruit players, mainly the Red Bull strategy, it is clear that they know what they are doing. And there are a lot of examples in Europe, in Italy, for example. I think Milan is a good example that with the right strategy, with some time and step by step, we can get there. So, thank you. This is my presentation, and I think now I'm fully available to listen to your questions and try to answer it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tiago Pinto, General Manager de AS Roma, hoy con nosotros en el Summit de la Liga MX. It has been brilliant, Tiago. Thank you for sharing all this knowledge, all this vision, all these insights with us. I'm sure it's going to be very, very valuable for all our audience. I'm sure that in our audience, we have a lot of football executives or men and women who wants to get into the top of the football industry. Mexico, the Liga MX is experiencing a great evolution and transformation in order to get to the top level. First of all, I'm sure our audience is curious about you particularly. You are one of the youngest general managers in a top club over there in Europe. You had a lot of success with Benfica, and now you're having a lot of success with Roma as well. Tell us about what skills has been determinant, has been fundamental in your career in order to achieve this level as an executive at the top of European football. Tell us about your credentials and how you have developed a great career you're even less than 40 years old. So I'm sure that there are a lot of executives that are curious about how you have educated yourself in order to have all these skills to get to the top level.
I think some luck is important too. So I believe a lot in myself. I think I have been doing a good job, but sometimes you must to be in the right place at the right hour, and sometimes we need luck too. But to be lucky, you need to work a lot. So I think I had two experiences in my life that helped me a lot. So before I worked in football, I worked a lot in schools with children, and I learned a lot to face things that are unpredictable. I mean, when you work with the children, every day is a new story. I think we live with our children, our son, our daughter, that if you do something today works and maybe the day after doesn't work. And I think in sports is the same. All the players, all the coaches are different. You must to be able to have a clear leadership, but at the same time you must to understand the people. You can't lead some process, mainly in football with 70% structure that we have, if you can't touch the people, if you can't understand the people, if you can't understand their problems. So I think it was a very important experience in my life. And nowadays, like I told you, when I arrived Roma, I didn't bring anyone from my personal relationships to Roma, because I want to show everyone inside that first of all I would like to know the people, So it was a very important experience in my life. The second one, when I came first to Benfica, my first job, it was in the multi-sports area. I don't know if you know, but Benfica is more or less like Barcelona. We have a lot of professional sports like basketball, handball, roller hockey, futsal. So my first job, it was like manage the 5 professional sports in Benfica. And it was amazing experience during 5 years, because each sport runs a different culture. 5 different coaches in 5 different sports. And I usually I said, if I go to the bus and close my eyes and just listen to music, and I can understand if it's the basketball team or the volleyball team, because even the playlists are different. So during 5 years, all days, I met 5 different coaches from 5 different sports with 5 different kind of players, So this experience for me was terrified. It was unbelievable, because developed a lot in me the capacity to understand different coaches, different mindsets, to try to not give anything like guaranteed. So I think it were 2 big experience that prepared me very well to arrive to the football, a very complex world, and helps me to lead this process with so demanding like football is, So I would say that some luck, some experience from the past, and then unfortunately, and maybe a lot of people maybe don't like what I will say, but to live at this level is very hard to manage our personal life with the professional life. So it's a choice that we must to do, because one guy like me, now I'm 37, I'm divorced, and I live for work. So it's not easy to live at this world, at this level in this world, without a big commitment. And work 12, 13 hours per day. So I think it's more or less like that.
Tiago, great storytelling is very valuable for us to receive this knowledge. You talk about strategy. You mentioned marginal gains. You mentioned collaboration a lot of times. If you would have to design or to create a course to capacitate football executives for the future, if you would have to diploma, or if you would have to recommend some areas of study for the future football executives, which areas? Please mention 2 or 3 areas that would be fundamental to study for all the people that is right now aspiring to be a football executive, or people that are already in the football industry, but we have to continue growing and learning.
I think the first area, and for me the most important area, is the human relationships. I mean, we need to have social skills. We need to have some psychological skills. You need to understand people. You need to understand how to lead the process, because football players are superstars, coaches are superstars, but everyone is human being. So when you come to a club like Roma and you have 26 players, a technical staff with seven persons, but then one structure with 40 persons to lead all this process, you must have a lot of social skills. So I would say in any course, any experience where you want to teach people to being a successful manager, I think from my standpoint that these soft skills, social, psychological, emotional intelligence, in my opinion, is crucial. Nowadays is crucial. Of course, it's impossible to do my job without understand football. It's impossible to sign players without being a football passionate, see a lot of games, see a lot of players, understand what is the language that the scouts or the coach speak. Of course, this is the aim of the business. You need to like football, to love football. So this is the other area for sure. And then I think nowadays, and this is a very, very personal opinion, I think nowadays, if you don't understand about numbers, you are dead. Because at least here in Europe, we have the financial fair play from UEFA. We have a lot of rules from the Italian Federation. So it's not possible to do market. It's not possible to do my job if I don't understand that at least the football economy. I wouldn't say economics in general, but at least the football economy you must understand. You must run the numbers. You must understand what P&L means, what amortization means, how the things work, because at the certain point you must match the sports project with the financial conditions. If we are under the financial fair play, I need to be clever. I need to understand the conditions that they will give to us, and then keep doing our job on sports side. So I would say these three areas: soft skills regarding to the social, psychological skills, football for sure, and then the economics.
Great talking about that is part of the that we are experiencing as professionals in any industry almost. And I really like what you said, Tiago, about scouting and trying to get talent. It's really difficult for Mexican football, for sure, to compete with the economic power of huge clubs like Manchester City or Real Madrid or Chelsea. But in this case, could you amplify more what you are doing about the scouting talent, getting to those places and watching them first, and trying to build careers with these young football players? Because if not, it's really difficult to compete if we're only talking about money. You mentioned strategy can beat money in this case.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we don't have money, we are more available to be creative and to be competent. So when we work in a small country like Portugal, or maybe in a league like Mexico, we must be more creative. I think, for example, for Mexico, and it's just a small opinion, but you are very close to two, three big markets like Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay. Of course, you will tell me, oh, but yeah, if someone from Europe will come, of course they want to go to Europe. It's true, but doing the right things in these kind of countries where the talent is too much, and even Colombia, South America is plenty of talent. Here in Europe, you have, for example, a lot of French clubs that do a lot of scouting in Africa. That is a continent that maybe one Premier League or even Serie A don't see too much. But when the other championships, the other clubs don't have the possibility, the economical possibility to sign everyone, we need to be creative. And the talent is everywhere. Sometimes it's the way that we look for the talent. And I think sometimes in football we are like the stock market. We are a little bit speculative. When starts to speak a lot about one player, the market values goes up, and sometimes even we don't know if the player has that value or no. So is a business that sometimes, if we have the very ice mind with the right tools and the right person, of course, in the scouting, I think it's possible to do good business, to attract talent, and even for your league, I think you are close to so many countries, football countries, that I think a good scouting structure could bring to your championship a lot of talent. And then, of course, is the market rules. Of course, if someone is doing very well in one of your clubs, of course, someone from Europe will appear and will try to buy him.
That's true. And just a final thought, final question, just to sum up all this great masterclass. What's the biggest challenge for football for the next 10 years? I was reading some of the FIFA's vision about globalizing the game, getting to those territories that are still far away from football. What's the biggest challenge from your point of view for the clubs like Roma, or in general terms, what would be the biggest challenge for football for the next 10 years in this environment of metaverse, virtual reality, a lot of technology? What's your thought, your final thought?
I think as my final thought, I think the biggest challenge is the balance. I mean, we can't keep building a market where I don't know, where 15 clubs in the world make a concentration of whole talent. So here in Europe, we start to see UEFA taking some decisions regarding to the squad limit, about the restrictions on loans, and for me, are good measures, good ideas, because football is for people. You know, we can't. I think nobody likes when 10, 12, 15 clubs in the world concentrate all the investment, all the money, all the big players, all the big coaches, and then we start to speak about closed leagues with just a small number of the clubs. When we start to see football with the 2, 3, 4 years old, we do it by patience, because this is our game. It's the game of the people, you know. There's no the rich can play, the poor can play, the guy from Africa or from New York, everyone can play the football, everyone can understand the football. It's an easy game to play and an easy game to understand. So I think nowadays our biggest challenge is the balance. Is the balance between the rich and poor, is the balance between Europe and other countries. And we can't forget even the social responsibility, because a lot of people sees football, a lot of people is influencing by people football, by people from football. So I think the next step, it will be this balance between the big clubs, between the championships, between the continents, between the money that we have in the market. I think this is the biggest challenge, in my opinion.
Tiago Pinto, General Manager of AS Roma, on behalf of Liga MX, of this great summit, thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing all this knowledge with us, for your time, for opening some space for all the Mexican executives. Mexico is a great market for football. We're passionate about football, and we want to continue growing. I'm sure that you have inspired a lot of people to follow your steps, and we desire you all the best. We wish you all the best with AS Roma, and you will always be welcome here in Liga MX. Thank you very much, Tiago.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, and good luck. Thank you. Bye.